वाशिंगटन डीसी अमेरिका का ताकतवर इक़्तिदार आला। कांग्रेस, जहां अमेरिका की रियासतों से चुने गए 435 नुमाइंदे कानून साजी के लिए जमा होते हैं। यहां 30 यहूदी नुमाइंदे हैं, जबकि मुसलमान सिर्फ 2, जिनमें से एक कीथ एलिसन है, जो 2006 के इंतखाब में अमेरिका की एक रियासत मिनेसोटा से मुंतखब हुए। प्रोफेसर अकबर अहमद ने हमारे साथ पिछले इंटरव्यू में इनके इंतखाब के बारे में बहुत दिलचस्प बात की।
I'm not a scholar of America. I had to become one. And I discovered amazing things. You know, when you say this tradition of pluralism in America, do you know, Fandi, that when Congressman Keith Ellison was sworn in as congressman, he was sworn in on a Quran, not the Bible. And there was a storm. People said, "Bhai, ye pehli dafa hua hai. How can a congressman be sworn on the Quran?" Until it was discovered that the Quran was owned by Thomas Jefferson.
Assalamu alaikum, Congressman.
Walaikum salam, walaikum salam, Gahi.
Pleasure to meet you.
You too.
Congressman, the people of Pakistan would like to know who you are.
Me too. No, the reality is I'm a member of Congress. I'm a public servant. I'm doing the best I can to represent the views of my constituents. I'm a father of 4, been married for many years. Before coming to Congress, I was a state legislator, and I am a lawyer and practiced law for many years. I'm an admirer of the Pakistani people, and I'm very optimistic about their chances of establishing the kind of society that they envision.
When did you become a Muslim, and can you tell us a bit about how you arrived at that decision?
I think I was 19 years old. I was on university campus, and this was about 1983, 84. And at that time, America was only about maybe 20 years away from Jim Crow segregation. And I think I was looking for a way to understand the world that affirmed my dignity as a human being. So I just started out. One day I was studying, I think, chemistry or calculus with a friend, and he got up on a Friday morning and said, "Well, I got to go." So where are you going? "Well, I'm going to prayer." "Well, what's that?" "Well, come on." So I went along with him, and I've just been going every Friday since then, unless there was some reason I couldn't. So that's sort of how it all evolved. It's been a very good experience for me.
In the beginning, you were, I'd say, a proponent of the Nation of Islam.
No, that's not really true.
Oh, I see.
The truth is that that organization was instrumental in building an event known as the Million Man March that occurred in 1995. I worked with some of them along with other people who were not in the Nation of Islam, to try to build the participation in the Million Man March. And some of my political opponents then tried to grab on to the fact that I worked with some of those folks and tried to turn me into one of them, which I'm not. And so it's really not true, but it's part of the whole propaganda machine that you could easily find on the internet.
I see. Post 9/11, if somebody had told me that a Muslim could be elected to Congress, frankly, I would have probably laughed it off. Would you have done the same? How did you convince the people of the 5th District of Minnesota to vote for you?
Well, as a lawyer and as a member of the state legislature, I never walked in the door wearing my religious belief on my sleeve. I never tried to push it on people. For me, my Islam is about prayer, about seeking guidance from God, inspiration, to be a charitable, good, decent person, promoting justice, mercy, things like that. It was never, for me, my Islam is not for other people, except in that it compels me to try to act charitably and in an upright and fair way. So my work was about working on issues of housing, whatever religion, working on issues of good police-community relationships. It was about public safety, and it was about justice and the rule of law. You know, my work was about protecting children from toxic substances in the environment, like lead, mercury, things like that. So all of this work that I did really is how people came to know me, how my colleagues in the state legislature and my constituents came to know me. So when I first won the endorsement of my party, which is the Democratic Party, for the congressional race in 2006, one of the first questions that the interviewer asked me was, "Sir, isn't it true that you're a Muslim?" And I said, "Yes, it is true." They said, "Will you be the first one in Congress if you're elected?" I said, "I don't know. I haven't studied that question." But my appeal was not on the basis of religious solidarity. My religion informs me to be good, decent, just, and fair, and I got to know people on that basis, not on the basis of how I wear or facial hair or things like that. And so I had a lot of Muslim support, but I had a lot of support from people who are not Muslim because they care about the things I care about: fair wages for working people, increasing the minimum wage, things like that.
What kinds of political attacks did you have to deal with during your election? I mean, was your Islamic faith considered a political liability by those who worked for you or against you?
They thought it was, but they turned out to be wrong. The fact is that I had opponents who actually distributed about 110,000 pieces of literature insinuating that somehow I was not opposed to terrorism because for no other reason than I'm a Muslim. Mm-hmm. And I had a lot of negative blog traffic and still have to put up with people who try to denigrate me and Islam and try to associate Islam with killing innocent people and horrible things like that. And so it's still a battle, but the way we stand up against it is just continually trying to promote peace between people and nations, economic fairness for the working classes. Rich people can take care of themselves everywhere in the world. Mm-hmm. And trying to promote environmental sustainability. You know, from an Islamic standpoint, we are the Khalifa of the earth, right? So we should care for it, not poison it, and not just use it to try to make money without trying to care for it. And then, of course, civil rights is always going to be something that I stand for because I believe that, you know, a person's race, color, religion shouldn't matter. You treat people fairly based on who they are. And these aren't just platitudes. I mean, we live this, you know, God willing. You know, this is what we're about. This is what we stand for. So how did people who are, most of the people in my district are not Muslim. Most of the people who elected me are white Lutherans, right? So how did they come to support me? Because it so happens that my beliefs and their beliefs match up pretty well.
Most of the values you just mentioned are not coincidentally Islamic values.
Of course.
Slavery, for instance, was abolished first and foremost by people of the Islamic faith.
That's right.
Do these ideas 7-8 years down the road permeate through American society or through your constituents?
Let me tell you, you know, the United States is a great country, and it's always had two competing impulses, right? One was, you know, slavery, segregation, Jim Crow, fear of the other, the immigrants, they're a problem. We have to watch out for them. These kind of ideas. The idea that the rich people don't have enough money and the poor have too much. You know, this set of ideas that you have to be just like us in order to be okay. That's one strain of political thought. The other one is liberty and justice for all. Give us your poor, you're tired, yearning to be free, right? That, you know, that an expanding political body politic that includes women, people of color, new Americans, all kind, this charitable, generous strain that is America. Both are America. You can't say one is American, one is not. They both are there, and they both have been competing to have the leading voice in the United States. And when Americans are feeling confident and strong, then the more generous voice prevails. and we say all men and women are created equal, endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights, among them life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. This, by the way, matches up with Islamic ideas fairly well.
Of course.
And on the other side, you have those people who are like, we don't want any immigrants here. You have to be a Christian or you're not really an American. I mean, and both of these are competing ideas. I'm on the side of generosity, inclusion. I'm on the side that says that America is a great country and can be better. But we have to sort of stand up for our values. And I believe in the end we'll prevail, because I believe the goodness of this country is stronger than the weakness and the fear of this country.
Congressman, we'll continue this discussion in a moment. Viewers, we'll be back after a short break.